Tell me a little bit about this dog that you're having problems with.
I can give you a little bit of history on her.
Sure.
A friend of mine used to have her, and she had her for a couple of years, and she had gotten it from somebody that had passed away. So she got the doll, and she gave it to me because she knows I'm into Native American things and such, and she thought that I would enjoy it, even though I don't like dolls. But I didn't have the heart to tell her. So she's been here for, I don't know, maybe about a year or two. And just have always known that she was haunted to some degree. I had her in the front bedroom for a little while, and anybody that went in there just was like, "Can you take the doll out of there?" Everybody's creeped out by her. Over the last year or so, I've suddenly been having massive medical issues that, like, out of the blue. And for example, January, February, and the beginning of March, I went through a bunch of testing, with the cardiologist, make sure the ticker was okay and whatever. And when we got the results, he said everything was clean and clear. There were no blockages. Everything was working perfectly fine. And that was on March 12th. On April 24th, I had a huge heart attack.
Ooh.
Yeah. And they found two blockages at the top of my heart at 100% clogged, and two blockages towards the bottom of my heart at 99%. And I literally asked him, "Well, what did I go through all that testing for?" And he said he honestly has no idea how it happened. So that's kind of strange. Back in August, my husband and I was sitting out here on the porch, and just something didn't seem right. Like, I wasn't in any pain, I wasn't dizzy or anything. It just something didn't seem right, and I looked at him and said, "Oh whoa, oh whoa," and went out. I didn't faint. It was like somebody hit the kill switch. Yeah, it was just like somebody just flipped a switch or something, and I went out. For what, like maybe 3 seconds or something?
Yeah, just a second. I mean, by the time I got out of my chair and over to you,
Right.
you were away. So
Yeah. So I joke and say it felt like somebody just rebooted me. My eyesight has gotten increasingly bad, and we all know, when you hit a certain age, your eyes do different things. So it's the rest of your body. Um, but I'm still dealing with this, like a year later, where they're saying it's vertigo. It's not vertigo. I've had to have MRIs done. I've had so many different things. I can show you right now in my pocketbook. I have 3 prescriptions for 3 different tests.
How did you figure out it was the dog doing this?
I can't say 100% sure that it's the doll. I can't. Okay. But what I can say is, never had all these medical issues. There are no answers to any of the medical issues that I'm having, or where they're coming from, or how they're coming
Yeah.
about. Um, the girl that gave it to me, she's in her 40s, her mid 40s, and out of the clear blue sky, she had a massive heart attack. So, thankfully, she lived through that. Her husband all of a sudden developed this huge tumor on his neck that
Oh,
just
no.
started growing, like, over a couple of weeks, and turned out it was cancerous. And
Oh, wow.
well, he's doing good. They've done a lot of testing, treatments and everything else. He now has to have a tracheotomy, and he has a feeding tube, but the cancer is gone. But that kind of cleared up.
When the dog went away?
Yeah, pretty much. So I just trying to put the pieces together.
Okay.
And like I said, she had gotten the doll from someone who passed away. So I don't know what that person passed away from. I don't know if she was just an old person, or, something sudden. It could have been a car accident. I honestly don't know. I just know that she came from somebody who passed away, went to a house that was perfectly healthy, and the heart attack, the cancer, and there were actually a couple of other things that happened with her grandchildren. And then she came here, and ever since she came here, I've been having nothing but medical issues.
Wow.
So for some reason, over the last couple of weeks, it just kind of, well, you know what I do. you know.
Yeah.
So it just kind of came to me that it was probably the doll, and which I find really odd, and it's so strange to even say that to somebody, you know, why, you know, but she's also wearing stuff that's like, yeah, she's Native American, but the stuff that she's wearing is also medicine, you know. I never put two and two together. So now, is she absolutely the one that's been causing the medical issues? I have no idea.
Has she communicated with you somehow? Have you sensed something from her?
You know, from the beginning, since she's been in the house, you know, I've always kind of, you know, not like there's been a whole conversation about
You got a feeling though, right?
right. And I've talked to you about this
Yes.
too. It's like you go in there and she's facing one way, and then you take a picture, and when you go back, or she's kind of not anymore, or at least her eyes aren't, and her eyes don't move. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I don't know what's happened. I don't know if whatever spirit was with her has moved on, or has gotten more angry or more negative. I honestly don't know. All I know is she lives at one end of the house and she never gets touched. She's got her own spot. And the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have been getting really bad anxiety. I have been having fears, nightmares. I wake up in the middle of the night expecting to see her standing by the bed. I'm so petrified that she's going to come into my room. I know it sounds really Looney Tunes. And then one night he had told me that he felt, didn't you even say it was a small set of hands?
Well, no, it just felt like hands on my shoulders. I got into bed, I was laying on my side, and it felt like both my shoulders, like somebody pushed me. Not
Wow.
hard, just,
So you felt like a gentle tug.
yeah, just like a gentle push on my shoulders. Like, weird, I would have thought it was a cat or something, but the cats were not on the bed. And it was on both my shoulders, so it wouldn't have been a cat. It felt like hands just,
I deal with spirits all the time in different ways, in different forms. So, you know, being touched or in bed and things like that is not too out of the norm. It's out of the norm for him to be touched, you know, so that doesn't happen very often. But I have never been so terrified of an inanimate object way that I have become with her, that she needs to be gone.
So you think once she's gone, things are going to calm down?
Well, the house has always had activity since we first moved in here,
Yes.
but just, you know, nothing that's creepy,
That's creepy. Okay.
right? You know, I mean, every once in a while, we believe that there's a portal that opens in my
Yeah.
front bedroom. Like even my niece, shortly after we moved here, she came and she didn't know how to tell me. She finally said, whenever I go to that side of the house, I get to that hallway, she's like, I'm scared. She gets scared.
He said other people are freaked out by the doll as well.
Yeah. I had her on the bed, in that room, and her boys were here. They actually were staying with us during the hurricane, and the boys were going to bring all their stuff into the bedroom to get set up, and they very quietly backed out of the room and whispered to their mother, can you know, she get rid of that doll? It's really scaring us. You know, so that was how she made her home in his office, you know, but and yeah, my niece, she's the way my niece will say it is, she says, she's so pretty, but I don't want to go near her. Before the doll got here, every once in a while you get a creepy feeling on that end of the house, to the point where I would turn on lights to go there, and I would actually say, okay, I'm coming down the hall, you know, but it's still something I could live with. And I have to tell you, if you stand in my kitchen, you got a straight shot, and my house is long, a straight shot view into that office where that doll sits. And I look to see if she's there. She freaks me out. Now, like I said, she's been here for a while, and I've never been this freaked out by her before, to the point where I don't want to touch her, I don't want to go near her. I was thinking about giving her to a friend of mine who is part Native American, and I figured maybe she needed to be with
a
Native
tribe.
American, you know,
Yeah.
her own kind, right?
Yeah.
But since coming up with the thought and the fear that she may actually be responsible for illnesses. I don't want to give it to him because him and his wife are, older and they already have medical issues,
Yeah.
and I don't want to be responsible for anything like that happening. And God forbid, I'm wrong completely. And God forbid something happens to one of them, I'm always going to feel like it was a doll and it was my fault. He even said to me today, he thought about burning it, but then
We don't want to do that though.
will we release whatever's in it?
Yeah.
And my whole thing was, I don't think I could watch the baby burn.
Yeah.
That was how I felt about it. So since talking about letting her go, you asked me earlier if she communicates with me, and the last few days she keeps calling me, and it's just, she just wants me to pick her up and hug her and hold her. And I'm thinking, well, maybe that's it. Maybe she just needs love. Maybe she needs attention or whatever. That I almost felt compelled to go pick her up and just hold her for a little bit. And then something told me not to do that.
Yeah.
Then I thought about it. I'm like, no, whatever is in her now, if I hold her or if I touch her, it's going to transfer to me. And I think that that's what it's looking for, because it knows.
You're like you're open to the spirits as it is already. So
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So,
you
yeah.
know. And I've never gotten that kind of feel from her or that kind of message from her the whole time that she's been here. But it's only been since I've been talking about giving her away that all of a sudden she wants these hugs from me.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, because whoever that is wants to transfer before that doll goes out the door.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to touch it to pack it up. I don't, I went in the room before, said hello to her, always say hello to her. And when I go in the room, I always say, hi, baby, but I don't want to touch her. I don't want to touch her to pack her. And gloves, no gloves, doesn't really matter. I just don't want to touch her. I don't want to be in the room when she's packed up.
Yeah, I totally get that, because I know you communicate with the spirits and
Yeah, I'm also getting very emotional about
Yeah.
it too, Jake, which is
Yeah.
really weird. It's like I said to him just before you got here, I'm like, I'm starting to feel so guilty that I'm on the verge of tears. That I'm giving her away. See, and
Yeah.
I don't know why, but she has to go. She
Okay.
really has to go.
Well, don't worry, we'll take care of her.
Please.
We will.